Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Skate Shop YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a review of the Racers Genesys skate. My name is Ivo and we are here of course in the Digital Skate Shop. That's why you see all those skates behind me. We have a physical store in Amsterdam and the web shop of course at thisissol.com for people who are not able to come by the store. Because coming by the store is of course the very best thing to do if you want to try on all the different types of skates. We have the Racers Genesys here in the store, and also all other models of all other brands that you would probably be interested in. This is a Racer skate that we're going to do a review of today, and Racers is a brand from America, but the owner is actually German, so it's an interesting story how he became the owner and how he moved to America. If you want to learn more about that story, we have an interview with him. It's called Behind the Brand of Racers. It's on our YouTube channel. So check that one out if you want to learn more about Racers. Racers came in the 80s. They made their first aggressive skate in the 90s. But their first aggressive skate was an open mold. It's the Racer Cult, the current model that they still have. That same open mold is also used for the Impala Lightspeed skates, the one that you've seen in the Barbie movie. And in the early 2000s, I don't know the exact year, but I think it's like 2002 or something like this, they came out with their first own skate, like the skate that they totally made themselves, and that was the Racers Genesys. So this is for them a very iconic skate. This is also where kind of like the heydays of this brand really picked up. In this period, a lot of people were skating these skates, and they also kind of like symbolize for me a little bit this period. And you can see that also in the design, in how chunky they were, because back then everybody was wearing really baggy jeans and like big sneakers with lots of laces. So you see in this model as well that it has double laces like that. So this is really like a zeros skate. The first model that came out was the Racers Murda. It was a pro skate. Back then it was was also one of my favorite pro skaters. And there were a few things different on that skate back then than is in the current Genesys. So I'm gonna run through all the different models that are out now and also tell you about the history of this model a little bit more and what different additions there were and what changes they made. Right now you see here the red part of this skate. So it's nice and distinctual. That's the sole frame. Racers calls it the sole frame. I would say actually it's called the sole plate. So there's a little bit different naming for it. And you see that the sole plate here is from the one end to the other end of the boot. And it's also here in the middle. But the original sole plate for this skate, it was called the sole wing. So it was only on the outside and the frame was mounted directly to the shell. So you were actually a little bit lower to the ground with the original sole wings, but the sole wings were a little bit smaller, so the sole plate area was not as big. And because the frame was mounted directly to the boot, and the boot was a little bit too weak, they made the full sole plate so that it's also a little bit more reinforced. So the advantage is that you're low to the ground with the sole wings, but because it's weak, the performance is not so high. And this was in 2005 that they added the full sole plate. I think the height of our sales of this skate was also up until the mid-10s or something. Up until for sure 2013, 14, we sold a lot of these skates. And back then what was really cool was the color technology. So you see here the red sole plate, and you see here the blue, and here's the white. So there were so many different colors out. You had like neon green and yellow, and all these parts are still available probably somewhere in somebody's closet. So if you know somebody that has this skate, probably they have some other parts, because customizing was very, very cool back then. So everybody just like bought like the standard skates and bought like extra parts for it. If you want to know what parts fit on this skate and what parts are available still on our web shop, we made customizing your skates a little bit more easy. We made a tool for it. So if you go to parts and then it drops down, of course, then you can go to the skate part finder tool and click on the Racers Genesys, and it will show you all the parts that are available for this skate. In the zeros, there were a lot of pro skates. In the tens, there were also some pro skates. And right now, there are no pro skates anymore. Not to say that there won't be one in the future, but the pro skates are always a little bit more expensive. And a pro skater, of course, gets to design their own pro skate. It has their name on it, and usually has like a better liner or like some cool features that the pro skater wants. One of the cool features that was on the skate was they had a couple with like a skin over it. So you see these lines here. So this line here, and then there's another line here. So let's say from this line on, there would be a skin glued over it. There's also additions where it was just like over the lacing area here. That's very cool. So it's like the Murda Pro Skate, but there was also like the Charles Dunkel Pro Skate. They all were like really special. So that's nice. None of that happens anymore. Right now, this is kind of like outside also from Racers marketing. So I would say the normal like Racers lineup is you have like the Racers Cult as a basic skate, then you have the SL as like that's like a proper like really good skate, and then you have the new skate, the Racers Shift, which is the most expensive one. It's kind of the same as the SL, but a lot stronger and more solid, and you have the frame changing system in it, so that's nice. So you have these three skates. And then the Genesys is a little bit like outside of that lineup a little bit because it's never like mentioned in their social media or so. Why do they still make it? One of the reasons is because there's like a certain amount of people who just love it, and another reason is the fit of the skate because it's very unique in how it fits around the foot. I think the length-wise it's pretty normal. So if you have like a size 42, just get the size 42. The skate is of course supposed to feel tight. But in the width and in the height of the skate, this skate is very special because it's one of the widest skates on the market and also one of the tallest skates in the market. So if you are one of those people with very tall and wide foot but not so long, this skate is good for you. So that's why we keep on selling it. Also here in the store, if people like tried all the skates and it was really hard for them to find one that they like, the Racers Genesys will fit all people always good. Is one of those skates, and so that's really the unique selling point I think of this skate, is that everybody who puts it on feels very comfortable in it. Of course, after skating it, the liner will break in a lot. So if it will feel very tight in the beginning, the skate, it will feel just normal tight later, or if it feels normal in the beginning, it will feel loose after skating it for a while. So keep that in mind when you first put them on. The skate has a hard boot on the outside, and of course on the inside there's a liner like this. And Racers makes two liners for one outside mold, one shell. And these liners, they become warm, wet, they move, and after skating them for a while, they will shape totally to your foot. So even if you have a liner that's a little bit shorter, because that's the only difference, is the length here. Even if you have a liner that's a little bit shorter, it will expand and it will fill up the room that's available between your foot and the shell. So that's why having a different liner in the shell in the end doesn't matter at all. And that's also why we only buy the biggest liners that are available for each shell. So for example, the 41 and the 42, they share a shell, and we don't buy the 41, we only buy the 42, and we advertise it on our website as a dual size skate, size 41, 42, bundled together. If you want to learn more about this dual sizing thing, we have an entire video about that as well. So it's an interesting topic, but just for now you know enough regarding this skate. Then there's the flex of the skate. You can see here this white part can move if I do this. And the forward flex is pretty natural, I would say. You are leaned a little bit forward in this position because there's a shock absorber inside. And the shock absorber is pretty tall, like this. See, it's pretty high. So you have a big forward lean, which makes it nice if you do landings and stuff. But also if you want to skate fast, you also want to have a forward lean. The shock absorber is, I think it's a little bit harder than the shock absorber that's in the Racer Shift and in the Racer SL. So I would say that's nice, because if you have it really soft, then this also absorbs a lot of your energy. Then there's the sideways flex of this skate. That's kind of like how stiff the shell is if you move it like this. I would say the sideways flex is just perfectly fine. Don't have to change it that much, but you can change it. And so that's an interesting thing about racer skates, is if you look inside here, there's the T-nut for the cuff bolt, and it's able to change position. So you can put it forward or backwards. Right now it's shifted backwards, so that means there's more forward flex. But if you change it more forward, then there's less room in the back, and the cuff hugs the shell more tightly, so it has more resistance if you put it forward, so that then you'll limit your forward flex. So it's nice that you can actually play with the flex. This is a new feature. This was added much later. So if you look at an old Genesys, then you can see that that feature is not available. Next topic is the liner. And it's a very standard liner. I think like the padding, everything is normal on it, I would say, but also not the best. They're having trouble with this liner for a long time already, with the tongue going down. You can see it here if I do it like this. After a while, probably you will have this problem. But you can always upgrade the liner, of course. I would say a rain liner is best in this skate. And yeah, it's a good idea to change that. We also have these little size adjusters at the shop, and this gives pressure at the top. So you can put this on top of the liner like this, and then there's actually less room for the tongue to go down to, and that also keeps the tongue up. So if you have problems with this liner going down, like one of these size adjusters might help. I would say in general for the Racer Genesys that this is a good idea, because there's so much room. Like I can put my finger here in the shell. If you have them on, even I could still do that probably, at least if I put my foot in it. And that means that you can also move your toes in it, which is comfortable, yes, but not very nice if you want to have a high performance skate. Then there's one other thing in the skate, and I don't know what this is called actually, but a lot of people wonder why it's there. And this is actually just to protect the liner from scratches of the T-nuts that are there. So there's a couple of like metal T-nuts that hold these bolts here, and if you skate the skate long enough, they'll damage the bottom of the liner. So that's why this is there. Then, if you take all this out, there's a special gift. Look at this. This is the only skate. Oh, there's a spare Allen key underneath everything in your skate. Tucked away, hidden. You should always put it back as well after you used it, because otherwise you're gonna forget it. So a very cool feature of this skate is the hidden Allen key, because you're gonna be on a session where you need it, where you lose a cuff bolt, or you need to tighten your sole plate bolts or your frame bolts or something, or maybe you can help a friend with it. So very good to know. Next topic is the cuff, and the cuff just does its job. It's pretty flat here, and there's also V-cut cuffs available, which enable you to lean backwards better. If you want that, then take the Remedies or Rams cuff, because the sizing for the cuffs is the same for the Rams skates, and the Rams skates have the V-cut, because Remedies and Racers kind of like are co-owned by the same owner, Andy. So there are no cuff sizes for the skate. So all cuffs, even if you have like a size 48, that cuff will also fit on the size 38. Okay, so that's a very convenient thing. And of course the cuff is available in a lot of different colors. If you want to customize it, this is the skate for you. And on the cuff is a buckle. This is just the standard Racers buckle. It works perfectly fine. If you want to close your skates even better, then take a metal buckle, because they close better. So, but don't worry about it. There's a couple of different editions of the cuff. Here you see one with the buckle going outside, and here you see one with the buckle going inside. So this is the newer cuff, and this is the older version. And then the Racers has one other cuff, that's the Racers SL cuff, but they actually don't use the Racers SL cuff on the Racers SL anymore that much. But so they normally just use this same cuff on kind of like all Racer skates right now. I don't know which one I think is better. Like, it's nice that you don't have this flap anymore, but it's also, if you tighten your skate a lot, if it goes in really deep, it kind of like gets stuck behind the liner, between the liner and the cuff. And if you have the skate on, then that puts on a lot of pressure. So then it's really hard to shove the buckle in. So there's an upside and there's a downside to having this system and to this system. If you have this problem, you can also just cut off a little part of your buckle, and then it doesn't matter anymore. You don't need the inside, but if you have it, it's no problem. Perfect. Next topic is the sole plate. I already told you a lot about it. First it was the sole wings, then in 2005 the full sole plate. It's a standard sole plate, nothing wrong with it. It's a little bit different than the SL sole plate, because then in this you see the difference between the SL and the Genesys. If you put it down like this, then you can move the skate a little bit. So the back part of the sole plate is a little bit less wide than the front part of the sole plate. And if you do the same thing with an SL, just tilt it like this, both sides, the front and the back, hit the floor at the same time. So this means that if you're doing cess slides on the Genesys, they're a little bit harder than cess slides on the SL, because on the SL you're like perfectly balanced on the front and the back sole plate at the same time. There you see kind of like a little bit of the evolution of the skating hardware for racers. Then no other sole plate fits on this skate, so you're kind of like stuck with the Racers sole plates for this, because on some skates you can like customize it and play around with it. And the reason for that is also because of the backside plate, which is cut out here. I think Racers has a patent on the backside plate. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's definitely a distinctive feature of these skates that is a separate thing. I don't think there's a lot of utility in having a separate backside plate because nobody wears their backside plate down faster than their sole plate. And yeah, usually if you want to replace your sole plate, you want to replace your backside plate as well. So, but it does offer color technology, so you can change the color of your your backside plate. The backside plate is pretty close to the frame here, so this distance is pretty close. Normally it's a little bit farther away, and because of that distance, if you do royales, you need to go actually pretty deep on this skate, because it looks like a really chunky and wide skate. So usually a skate like that would be like, if you don't only have to do this to do a royale grind, but with the Genesys you actually have to go a little bit deeper than that you would expect from a skate like this. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Royales that are deep are more beautiful, but they're harder to do. So next topic is the frame. All Racers Genesys skates come with a Featherlight 3 frame for, I think, probably a decade already. In the past, they came with all sorts of other ground control frames, like the high-low frames, or the other Featherlights, like 1 or 2s when they came out, or the Bullets, or there's been so many ground control frames. But right now, they're all Featherlight 3s. It's also available as a boot only. And probably in the future, I think it will remain the Featherlight 3 for a long period. The Featherlight 3 is a really good frame. It's just kind of like a standard frame. It is a little bit weak. They had to make it really light, and light means less material, and less material means weaker. So that means that, yeah, you can just, especially if you don't have the wheels in, you can squeeze the walls a little bit. So that's a little bit of a downside. If you're a big, heavy guy, I would not advise the Featherlight 3 for you, but I would go for a little bit stronger frame. It's also a little bit short. You see that with this addition as well. I like it a little bit more if the wheels stick out more. So, but that's a personal preference maybe. Then the wheels are just standard wheels. You can of course upgrade them to better wheels, but they're fine. Then the bearings are also just fine. I wouldn't worry too much about those. The frame is mounted to the boot with the UFS mount, and the UFS mount are these two holes here, and that's a standard mount for all aggressive skates, at least almost all aggressive skates. They have this, so you can just put on any frame on these skates that have the UFS label on it. There are also UFS frames with bigger wheels, and I don't think that this is the best boot for that. So if you want to go to 100mm wheels, for example, then you're going to ride pretty tall above the ground, and I think the boot's a little bit too flexy to have big wheels like that. An interesting feature of the skate is the laces. So you see these like double lace holes, and there's actually like 2 laces in there. You could also just put one very long lace in it, and then you would be able to tighten it a lot harder, I think. But right now, I don't even think that this skate is made to skate for people that want to have a very tight skate. If you want to have a skate with pressure on the top, don't pick this one, because this is one of the tallest ones. The way these laces work is you have to kind of like, I think, pull 2 at the same time. So then you get these 2, and then you get the next 2, and you tighten those, and then you have the final 2 and tighten this, and then you make one knot with both laces at the same time. So you just treat these 2 laces as if they're one. That's what I would do, at least. But there's also room for like a personal taste in this, so you can just put in one long one, or you can treat them as individual laces. But it's just a lot of work, in my opinion. And in the end, it's up to you to play with this. Let me tell you all the things that you can do to upgrade this skate. You can change the buckle, change the laces. You can do the color technology. You can put it on other frames. One thing I didn't say yet was that you can also put in different insole. And I would go for a Superfeet insole, because they are nice and solid, so they have the best energy transfer. If you move your foot, you want your skate to move with you, and those are the best insoles for that, because they kind of like hold your foot in a steady, safe position, and that's actually the position that your foot wants to be in, and that's also the position that you can have the best control. Then we have a new tool on our website, and I'm super excited about this. I already told you about the skate part finder tool. If you want to know which part works on this skate, just go there and you'll find all the parts for it. But we also now have a customizer tool. And in the customizer tool, you can kind of like upgrade your skate with a little bit more difficult upgrades. There's easy ones like wheel swaps. So if you buy a skate, but you want to have the better wheels, you'll get the wheel swap. But there's also a little bit more complicated things like for some frames you need to have a little bit room here for wheels, because the wheels then stick out inside the boot a little bit. But then you have to grind away some of that material. And in this tool you can just buy it, and then we do it for you. So any kind of like more complicated customization work is now available on our website to choose directly when you purchase the skate. If you want to know more about that, check out thisissoul.com. That's our website. And if you want to know for sure that the skate will fit, I hope you can make it to Amsterdam one day to visit us here in the store. Come and say hi. And if you're not, then you have to just watch these YouTube videos, because we make a new one every week. So subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.